I noticed the bruise before I noticed the candles. A dark bloom beneath my son Theo's right eye. Small, swollen, deliberate. The kind of bruise made by someone who enjoys the precision of cruelty. We were standing in the doorway of my sister's house. 17 sets of eyes already turning toward us as if we were late to our own humiliation. Theo's hand tightened around mine. That was when her son Lucas sauntered over. The kind of kid who had already memorized the world's rules and knew they bent for him. He smirked, chin tilted high. I just taught him a lesson, he said. My parents say I'm never wrong anyway. The table laughed, light and dismissive. A soft clatter of forks over cake. Someone muttered it was just a fight. Someone else said, boys will be boys. My sister Valeria didn't even look up from pouring juice. But Theo lifted his face toward me, quiet, steady, and whispered something so gentle it sliced the room open. The whole table fell silent. Valeria dropped the glass in her hand. The sound of it shattering was almost merciful compared to what came next. People think betrayal arrives like thunder. Mine came like drizzle, quiet, dismissible. The kind of thing you ignore until you're soaked through. My sister and I grew up stitched together like two halves of the same lie. She was the golden one with grades, friends, and charm. I was the shadow she stood in to make her light look brighter. But I trusted her more than anyone. When Theo was born, she held him first. She said she would protect him as fiercely as she once protected me. I believed that too. Then her marriage began to rot. Not visibly, just the smell of something sour in their laughter. I didn't intervene. People deserve their privacy, I told myself. Even family, especially family. I should have intervened because rot spreads. The first sign that something was wrong happened 2 months before the birthday party. Theo started coming home quieter. Not sad, not scared, just quiet in a way that made me listen too hard. I asked him what happened at school. He said nothing. I asked again later. He said just games. I asked a third time and he looked away. That was the answer. Then the subtle things appeared. Missing pencils, ripped notebook pages. That faint anxiety kids try to press flat like wrinkles in a shirt. And once a message on his tablet from Lucas. Don't forget who's in charge. I didn't confront anyone. I simply watched. I counted bruises disguised as clumsiness. I counted the moments Theo hesitated before walking into my sister's house. I counted the number of times Valeria brushed off my concerns with practiced innocence. I knew then this wasn't childhood roughness. This was a pattern learned from the adults who fed it. So while they thought I was doing nothing, I was studying every bruise, every message, every witness, every teacher's comment about dominance issues in Lucas's behavior. Every time my sister defended him with that brittle arrogance. Planning isn't emotional, it's math. And my revenge began as simply as an equation. Protect Theo, expose them, leave nothing standing. The party was my opportunity. They handed it to me wrapped in pastel balloons. After Theo whispered those 4 words, soft enough for only me yet loud enough for everyone. I watched as the room changed temperature. I watched my sister's face turn the color of buried guilt. He had said, "You told him to." Silence slammed the air flat. Lucas's smirk vanished like a light switched off. Valeria looked at her son, then at mine, and then at me. Her mouth open, her excuses dead before they could form. That was when I executed the rest. I pulled from my bag a small folder, thin and precise. Months of documentation laid out as calmly as a surgeon revealing an X-ray. I set it on the cake table next to the unlit candles. This, I said, is everything. Screenshots, teacher reports, voice memos, dates, photos. Patterns too consistent to dismiss. The husband tried to speak about misunderstandings, but I cut him off with a look I had practiced. No, I said, not misunderstandings, not mistakes, encouragement. Someone gasped. Someone else whispered to call someone. Good, let them. Because I had already made the calls to the school board, to child services, and to the community league. All timed so their arrival would converge in one glorious collapse. As sirens grew closer outside, right on schedule, my sister finally understood. Her son wasn't the only one who learned a lesson today. I took Theo's hand and walked him out as officers stepped inside. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I had already seen the ending. Relief isn't loud. It's the quiet exhale after surviving something you shouldn't have. Theo squeezed my hand. You're not mad? He asked. No, I said, I'm done. Because revenge, when done correctly, isn't rage, it's closure sharpened to a point. Thank you for listening to today's story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next story.